In 1952, the Boeing company took an enormous risk in developing a prototype jet transport aircraft. They gambled more than the company's net worth on the project. If the new aircraft had failed, it may have taken the company with it. In fact, the 707 family became one of the most spectacular success stories in the history of aerial transport. The inaugural 707 airline service was launched on the 26th of October 1958, when Pan Am flew 111 passengers from New York to Paris.
Ground American 1913, approaching spot 28, information whiskey.
American 1913, ground 27 left, taxi Juliet, Yankee, Sierra, hold short of uniform.
27 left, taxi.
Welcome to Terminal 4 at John F. Kennedy International Airport. For security reasons, please keep your luggage with you at all times. Unattended luggage will be removed for inspection and may be destroyed.
Ground JetBlue 918, Delta Alpha, ready to taxi Charlie. Blue 918, ground runway 4 left. You can be coming out of Delta Alpha or Foxtrot? Delta Alpha. Pushback on Alpha, approved, facing the city.
Okay, pushback on Alpha, approved, facing the city.
American 300, you can follow the traffic on 13 right and monitor tower 1239.
Follow in line, monitor tower 123, that's 19 American 3.
Ground American 1913, approaching spot 28, information whiskey.
American 1913, ground 27 left, taxi Juliet, Yankee, Sierra, hold short of uniform.
27 left, taxi Juliet, Yankee, Sierra, hold short of uniform, American 1913.
Delta 444, Hotel Bravo coming up on Alpha with Bravo.
Delta 444 Heavy, Kennedy ground, runway 4 left, give way to company, then taxi right Alpha, hold short of Mike.
Give way to company right on Alpha, hold short of Mike, Delta 444.
On the 15th of May 1954, the Boeing 367-80, now famous as the Dash 80, was rolled out before an admiring audience of employees and guests. Interest in the project was high, in spite of the traumatic experiences the British had encountered with the jet-powered de Havilland Comet. None of those assembled had any doubt about the significance of the occasion. But few guessed they were in the presence of one of the most important individual aircraft ever built.
In 22, runway 10 right, taxi via Bravo, cross runway 6.
There right via Bravo, cross runway 6.
The Dash 80 was designed as a one-off to prove the concept of a jet-powered transport. Drawing on their experience in jet bombers, Boeing's design team developed a totally new plane. The wing was an all-new design with the same 35-degree sweep as the military jets, but much more rigid. Wing flaps were divided to avoid engine exhaust interference. 2 sets of ailerons were used, one for high-speed cruise and the other for takeoff and landing.
Citation 780 Juliet Sierra, Skyr, wind 32012, gust 21. Runway 27 left, clear for takeoff.
Clear takeoff runway 27 left, 70 Joel Chan, thank you.
Bravo Victor, traffic off left, negative way. Continue kilo, hold short runway 35.
Continue kilo, we'll hold short at 35 now, 450 Bravo Victor, we got that traffic tonight.
While Pan Am and American were plying their trade with the 707-120, another important version was already in development. In response to Douglas's challenge, Boeing had announced the development of a new 707 offering greater range and capacity, the Intercontinental 707-320. The 707-320 first flew on the 11th of January 1959. So successful was the test series that only 35 days later the plane was handed over to the Federal Aviation Agency for certification trials. At Edwards Air Force Base in California, the Intercontinental was put through its paces. FAA test pilots undertook a detailed review of the aircraft's flying personality, while ground-based engineers measured the reactions of every component. Day after day, the test team propelled the mighty jet at altitudes from sagebrush level to stratosphere, over speeds ranging from near stall to 700 miles an hour. The Intercontinental 707-320 was over 12 feet longer than the 707-120 and had a wingspan almost 12 feet greater. It was the first of the breed to be truly intercontinental, and directly challenged Douglas's promises for the DC-8.
Traffic, helicopter 862 November Charlie, approximately 3 miles to the south from the airport. We'll head to our base there, about 5 miles south. We should be out of here.
The powerful Pratt & Whitney JT4 turbojets enabled the aircraft to carry a payload equivalent to 189 passengers. The first truly intercontinental flight of the jet age was the final test flight under full airline operating conditions. The Intercontinental 707-320, with its new Boeing livery, was bound for Rome, Italy. William Allen, the chairman of Boeing, had good reason to smile. After taking off from Boeing Field in Seattle, the 707-320 headed northeast on the Great Circle course. It overflew Canada, Greenland, Scotland, and Germany. For most of the journey, the aircraft cruised at Mach 0.78, reaching a maximum altitude of 39,160 feet. It landed in Rome only 11 hours 6 minutes after takeoff. The journey was the longest ever undertaken by a jet airliner to that time. The next day, the plane flew on to Paris, Frankfurt and Brussels before landing at Heathrow for a night stop. The FAA certification was awarded on September 23, 1958, and the transport revolution continued. The new jets were so popular that until sufficient numbers had entered service, they were filled with first-class travelers. Within a year of entering service, over 2 million passengers had been carried. As deliveries gathered pace, 707 milestones came in quick succession. The 100th 707, which rolled off the line in the livery of Air India International, was another 707-420. Production of the last 707 series ended in 1979, after 917 of all versions had been built. 19 different models have been operated by 62 different airlines. At least 300 of those aircraft are still in service. When Boeing started work on what was to become the 707, they were a very minor player in civil aviation. Today, they're the dominant force. The arrival of the 707 opened up air transport to a new mass market. The many successful and important military aircraft based on the design are ultimately less significant than the civil development. When the Dash 80 took to the air for the first time, the world became a smaller place for all of mankind. Though well past its prime, the 707 continues to ply its trade in the skies. It will do so well into the next century, being updated and maintained as freighters and specialist aircraft for as long as life remains in its aging but solid body.
Maintain flight level 90 reaching. I call you back very shortly, Lufthansa 49 Whiskey.
Alpine 3673, contact on 120.955. Bye-bye.
120.955,
Descend and maintain 2,200 feet.
Descend and maintain 2,200 feet. Expect vectors.
Nine to 5, radio speed 1800 knots, cleared for the approach.
180 knots, clear for approach, Corsair 925.
Corsair 925, contact tower 118.7, au revoir.
118, Corsair 925, bonne journée.
Scandinavian 841, good afternoon.
Scandinavian 841, good afternoon, turn right, taxi via Alpha, Foxtrot in November to stand Alpha 10.
Right turn, Alpha, Fox, November, Alpha 10, Scandinavian 841.